My dad had written what we would call, modern people would call, a will. And this letter was addressed to my aunt. The letter was saying that in case of my death, please, I want you to take care of my son, so and so. And probably did it very intentionally because maybe he had seen the environment that he was in, just so that probably I had the best shot at life with my aunt. He had lost weight. It was just scary. Meanwhile, he had promised me that, you know what, after this, we are all going to transfer to Nairobi and stay there. Kumbe they were just maneno ya kumpaka mtu mafuta. Once he died, once he was buried, we left with my auntie. And I began my next life. Me, I was now used to Shago life completely. The Shago life. And now I come back to town and I'm living now a totally different life where technology is there, microwaves are there, flushing toilets are there, you know, etiquette, eating etiquette is there. There's something called ambience. There's something, you know, it is just complete life. And that also had a bit of, as much it was a good thing, it was a blessing in disguise. And one of the things that came out clearly was that technically I wasn't allowed to mourn my parents. Okay, so I remember when I was in school boarding, I used to cry a lot. When I remembered my mother's death and what it means, I would cry a lot. And when I came home, I think my aunt didn't know how to deal with somebody, a kid who was grieving. And to her, she was just like, shut up. One day she just woke up and she was like, shut up or I return you back to your home. And of course, back wasn't a pleasing place that I wanted to go back to. And so that's how I blocked that grieving and just started focusing on how do I get education, how do I finish, and life after that. Yeah. So I was serious. In school, I was a different person. When I came home, a different person. You know, my aunt is a strict human being who wants things to be followed this way. So I remember in school, I got into sports. I was very good. I was a very good athlete. I think you know that. I was wanted in volleyball. I was doing everything. I was doing field sports. Yeah, I was just all over the place. So I remember in primary, got to sub-district, I was being selected, you know, in primary, and I went even up to provincial. And that was my life in school. When I came back home, I was a different person. I was just, for the 2 weeks, because home holiday was always 2 weeks, at most 1 month, I would just be this boy. Then go back to school, I become now again another person that I wanted to be really. And I performed, school-wise also I was performing well. My aunt was only concerned about the school. I performed well, and though I did not get what I expected in KCP, I think KCP I was amongst the people that were written hour. These are 400 and above marks out of 500. And then for some reason, I didn't get that. I got 350 something, 57 marks, which was a failure. It was I performed well, you know, but for me it was a failure. It wasn't good, and to my aunt also it wasn't the best, because I was aiming for a national school. So what happened was, like, now people jumped into. Then they called me to Rangala Boys, which I didn't report. So people started running left and right looking for a school. I tried now applying for Starehe. They wanted me to apply for Starehe because their aim was that Starehe that time was giving orphans scholarships. So they wanted me to go there, and she knew a bit of people here and there. We tried applying. It wasn't a success. They wanted at least 380 and above. So I didn't qualify for that. 350. So an aunt of mine found Chianda. And that's how I ended up in Chianda. And I was again involved in sports a lot from day one. I remember I came on Friday and Saturday. I was in the first, I was in the list. I was in the list. I think that is still a history up to now. People are asking, who is this Form 1? Who is this Form 1 that is going on a bus before us? Yeah, and the basketball games captain came. The volleyball games captain came to me and asked, hey, Bana, do you play which game? And at that time, I was playing both. I was playing basketball, I was playing volleyball. They told me, come to the pitch. I came to the basketball pitch. I tested kidogo, went on a break, came to the volleyball pitch, I found a teacher there called Mr. Nehemiah Ochieng. They gave me a chance. I was good at it. They said, this guy will not leave this pitch. And how they hooked me, they put me in the list for an outing. And that is how I was hooked into volleyball. And the second thing that hooked me into volleyball was that the training, there were both games that were happening in the same time. So training for volleyball and training for basketball was a bit tricky. So I ended up sticking in volleyball, plus the coach was a dedicated one. Hey, kijana! Yeah, funny teacher. Yeah, and I stuck in volleyball. So in high school, my life was just around volleyball. Volleyball games. I think at Form 2, I became a games captain. An assistant or something. Assistant games captain. And that it was just games. And finally, we finished high school. And it was now, what next after high school? And as I was telling you earlier, the story of now, what next, started playing out. One, I did not get the marks that qualified me directly to JAB, okay? But I had the marks that can get me to a university, all right? The problem was that now this was going to be self-sponsored. So it was about cost, okay? And I remember it was a big ball of contention because now the word around my aunts, you know, my aunt was, this aunt that took me in was one of the aunts that had something, okay? So many people felt like, our kids are the ones who are supposed to be paid for school fee, you know. So the people were starting to discuss, what do we do with this kid? Do we take him to a polytechnic? Do we, what do we do? What do we do, you know? And my aunt decided that I can go to the university. So the question was, what is he going to do in the university? Which course is he qualified? And so the discussions of, and for the first time, actually, that is the time that we had a lot of wrangles with my aunt, because for the first time ever, I was staying home almost over 1 year. I stayed home for over 1 year at home. So you are living with this person every day. We fought a lot, because now you are dealing also with a teenager. For the first time, he's home full time. And here you are, you want him to choose a course. There is no guiding, and somebody guiding you into the courses, trying to say, okay, according to what I know, these are the courses that can benefit you. What do you like? You know, there was not that conversation. It was a time that now I was also knowing girls and interacting with the opposite sex. I remember the conversation of sex that I had with my aunt. So one day a girl came to look for my cousin and found that my cousin was not there. So she came to our house to see me and ask me where my cousin is, only to find my aunt. And of course, she didn't ask my aunt where my cousin is. She asked my aunt where I was. My aunt told me, Jeff is not here, and she left. That is the day I was given the sex talk and relationship talk. And the words were, now you've started seeing girls. There's something called HIV/AIDS, and there's something called pregnancy and protection. Did we even talk about protection? Just said there's protection. I don't think we went into the details. And that was it. So other angles started coming in. Oh, so you don't like this. Why are you like this? Why are you doing? Why are you not listening? You know, why are you going? You are not saying where you are going. It was just a lot of stuff. And I started choosing courses. So meanwhile, also I didn't know that also my aunt was kind of also delaying, subconsciously or consciously delaying me choosing a course, so that she also, one, maybe looks for money. Maybe she didn't have the cash, or also still just thinking, is it a worthy investment to put her money in it, or will she be able to sustain it? Because again, it's not just getting into the universities. How can she sustain it? And so I chose a number of courses, as I said before. I tried animation, film production and animation. I cancelled it the last minute. Tried law. Law, I think, was too costly. And then finally, I said I was going to do business management, BBM. Yeah. At that time, it was about where do I go to do business management? And I wanted to go and do business management in Moi University. And the reason for Moi University also was that this girlfriend had just, a year before, had just joined Moi University law school. What is the name of this girl? It is coming and going. And so I chose Moi. And at that time that I chose to join campus, an opportunity to go and work in Turkana also came. The tallow oil was just coming to explore oil in Kenya. My mother, my aunt, who I call my mother, was the chief inspector of mines and geology, the whole of the country. And so she's the one who gives permits to quarries, to drilling, to everything. So these people came and told her, do you have a boy that we can train on job? Because Kenya did not have health and safety officers at all. And so she came, told me the news reluctantly, and me, I was like, I don't think it's a bad idea. Plus, I'm somebody who likes to explore. I've gone through worse life, so Turkana can't be that worse. So I take the opportunity. I decide to defer the school. Kasema school will always be there, but this opportunity might not come again. So I went. That was the first time that I was boarding an aeroplane. I went with an aeroplane, private jet, mpaka Turkana, checked into the camp. It wasn't as I thought. It was a good camp with security. There are policemen everywhere patrolling the towers. The place is arranged. People are living in containers that have air conditioners, and food is there in plenty. Zinakuja tu na lorry every week. And when I reported, I just came like this. The head of that place, Kauliza, you are the Jeff. I didn't even know the job I was going for. That is how another thing about connection and knowing who comes in. I just told, are you Jeff? I was just being told, go to this place, go to this place, go to this place, go to this place, you know. And I found myself into the office, and I was being shown the job. And I started working. And I worked there for close to 4, 5, 6 months. That was in 2012. Was it 2012? Yeah, 2012 or 2013. 2013 from around May all the way mpaka November, because November is when I reported to Moi University. So because I didn't necessarily have a contract, I was like, for as long as the job is there, I have a job. Okay, but now the school had arrived, and I was also looking forward to joining campus, because I had this idea of how a campus is. You know, life in campus is just it's sweet. You know, that's what I had in mind. So it came, and I was like, okay, it's time for me to go to school. I have a girlfriend to go and see. You know. Oh God. I reported to the school of business, uko Keses campus. The girl helped me to report. Kumbe alikuwa a different campus. So she helped me to report. I reported, and she went back. And that was our last. That is how we saw each other for the last time. Yeah, we kind of broke up in between. Years went by quick. During holidays, I would go to the work. So they would move. They would go to, like they moved from Turkana, went to Garissa. I was there in Garissa, Tana River. I was there, came back, like that. So I would work with them during the holiday when the opportunity was there, then go back to school. University took longer than it was expected. For a public school, it was 4 years. It took almost 6 years. And there is where I met the girl of my life. My wife, Rachel Murugi Mbogo. And then now, 4th year, when we were going to do our last paper, when we were doing to do our last paper, now it's graduation. We discovered that we are expecting our firstborn child, who is Jordan Mwangaza Ochieng. This came as a shock because honestly, I had not thought of having a child under those circumstances. The circumstances under which I thought I was going to have a child was I've finished campus, I've gotten a job, I'm having my own house, life has started for me, I get a girl, we fall in love, we get to the parents, we take the parents, we do a wedding, then a year later we get a child. That was the script, which even my aunt, I think that is what she had in mind. But here I am, boom, child. Actually, we discovered together. My wife told me that, you know what, I'm feeling funny, I've missed my periods. And I decided, okay, let's buy the testers. And we bought 2. She came with them into a hostel room. And we did the test together. And it was tick-tack, tick-tack, as we watched those lines turn red, 2 of them. And it was confirmed. And what I remember telling her, first thing, I think we prayed. And then I told her, I proposed to her whether she can be, is it my wife or my what? Don't know. And she said yes. I assured her that, you know what, me, I'll be in the life of this kid throughout. I love you, and you are the woman that I would like to marry. So you are not alone. We are together in this. After giving her that assurance, the next stage was now, what do you do after that? Unafanya nini? So we went on with our exams. Meanwhile, we went to our campus pastor to talk to them about the issue. For some reason, we just felt that was the right thing to do. So we went, told him everything that was happening, and the pastor cried. I think he cried because he had already foreseen how our life was going to be after campus, the difficulty in which we will face. So he prayed for us, wished us well, told us to prepare us how we can go and tell our parents. And that was done. We came back to school, did our exam, finished, went back home. When I went home, my wife was the first one to tell our parents. And our parents did not receive it badly. They were just, okay, you're pregnant, cool. You finished campus, cool. The good thing also is that my wife, before she finished campus, there's a lady where she had done internship, not even internship. I think she finished internship somewhere, and then she went and looked for volunteer at a restaurant in Garden City called Mocha Loka. It's now closed, and did volunteer there. So when she came back to school, that lady called her and was like, I have a job for you. Have you finished? If not, finish, come. So she finished and she had a job. So there's where she reported. Meanwhile, she was living with her parents. So she went told her parent, but her parents also were like, okay, so you also have a job. So they took it lightly. It wasn't a big deal. So she would come from her parents' home, report that job. Meanwhile, me, I've gone to my auntie in Kitengela. Jobless, rudderless, confused comrade with a child on the way. So I go and even me, I gather all courage in me and tell my aunt. My aunt took it with shock because previous year, she just knew I had a girlfriend who was in Germany, who actually she was supposed to meet. The girl came all the way from Germany to see me here and lived in Kenya for about a week or 2 weeks. And she was supposed to come and live with us. But my aunt changed her mind last minute. So the girl had to check into a hotel. So she knew that that was the girl I was dating. So yeah, I'm coming, I'm saying I've gotten a girl pregnant. She quickly asks, is it that girl? I'm like, no, it is not. Oh, okay. Kwani, how many girlfriends do you have? I'm like, that one I broke up with, this is a new one. Okay. Then, okay, if it's a new one, then this is not serious. I think what she picked, maybe this is not serious. Kumbe me, I'm saying this has gotten pregnant, and this is the one I want to marry. My aunt kept quiet, went mum for over a week. She didn't say anything about it. She was just quiet. Meanwhile, my wife and her people are wondering, okay, of course, the first question she was asked, has Jeff told the parents? What are the parents saying? You know, those concerns that a girl's parents have. But nothing was coming, you know. My mother was just quiet. Meanwhile, my girlfriend is wondering, okay, what does this silence mean? Have I been accepted? You know, ladies go through this a lot. And it became the bone of contention between my aunt, the second bone of contention now. We started having a push and pull. I had my expectation. She also had her own expectations. She just expected me to relax, wait until the child is born, probably confirm whether the child is mine and the true intentions of the girl, quote unquote, or is it just a trap, you know? And me, I was like, I had given my word to the girl that I would be with her throughout the road, throughout the way. So that is what I was committed to. So me, I was going out trying to look for something to do, hustle, you know. But my aunt just wanted me to chill. Wanted me, like, for her to be the one to plan that life. Or at least have a little control over it. My wife, immediately, her parents relocated to Shago. So she had to look for a place to stay. Meanwhile, she's still working. She decided to look for a place in Kitengela. And the reason was so that I can be close, I can be able to visit. Ile ingine was bringing rankles. I couldn't come from Kitengela to come all the way to Mwiki because I also had curfews. My aunt was the type of person, remember I said she was strict. You have to come back at particular times, you know. And when you're going to visit somebody that you're dating, you can never, time passes so fast, man. You know, so that started bringing issues. She decided to come to Kitengela. Meanwhile, during that time, my aunt just once, finally after we've had a push and pull, invited her. She came home. It was just an interrogation of who are you, blah, 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 blah. It wasn't as you'd expect. And that was the only visit she ever had at our place. When she came to Kitengela, she's pregnant. My aunt and nobody was talking. Like all my siblings, my sisters, nobody was even knew about her. So it was just me. I was doing, at that time I started doing fitness training. So I would train people for fitness, and in the evening I come to see her. During that period, my aunt just came to see her once. But us, we had made a decision that we were adults. This was our weight to carry, and we were preparing. We were making, you know, plans to take care of our child, whether somebody is going to get involved or not. And so we did. We planned for insurance. We planned for a house where my wife was staying, hospital where she was going to give birth. Everything was done until my son was born. So meanwhile, me, I'm just doing hustling here and there, training people here. I launched a yogurt business. I learned how to make yogurt. So that was another second business that I started doing after the fitness training. I started now selling yogurt. So I would make yogurt and sell in bulk, liter and above. And that again brought rankles between me and my aunt, because I had to use a fridge and also had to use a cooker, because for you to culture yogurt, you need to keep it at a particular temperature, which you could only do in an oven by keeping the light of the oven on. And that meant electricity. Second, there's a time I asked her for a loan. When I started the business with 250, where I went and bought the yogurt culture, bought milk, and started. And that 250 brought cash revenue of around almost 2,000 something. It was good revenue from 200. And I reinvested it. And this money grew to 5,000. And it grew to almost 10,000. And I got the courage and I was like, I think I need to go big. I need to grow now, okay? I need now to create posters, create flyers, walk into shops and start now getting orders in bulk. I even had a brand, which you'll get to see one of these days. You might actually see that brand in the market. That business, I'll do it. And so I got the courage to go and ask for my aunt a loan. And I needed a loan of how much? 200,000. And that just shocked my aunt. She was like, "What? 200,000? You've been, those were exact words, you've been like everybody else." Because apparently all the family members always feel like she has money. Okay, so she felt like I also joined that bandwagon, that I've just seen that she has money around that she can give. And of course she didn't, and that business had to stop. Because my wife went on a maternity leave, she was quote unquote dismissed. So she wasn't given room that, after maternity leave you can come back, because of the nature of our hotel industry. Hotel industry, you can't afford to do that. So she was just given a 1 month worth of salary. Okay, but told that when she's ready she can come back. That 1 month salary ran out very quick, and soon we had rent arrears, and we had to vacate the house. And that opened, the journey of being now hosted with relatives started. She went and got hosted by a cousin somewhere in Ngong. Meanwhile, things are getting even thicker, hotter here at home. The environment here at home is not akukaliki, because I'm now a rogue child. I'm just being guided by my own spirits. Technically, somebody can say I'm not listening. Okay, in fact, now the girl is even now the worst, because now this girl probably is the one who amekwaribu sasa. But I think I'd already been convicted. This was my path. I would follow it, whether I'm alone or I'm not. So I would come from Kitengela, try and visit her in Ngong. That didn't work because she got into postpartum depression. The stay there wasn't the best. At some point, it just got worse, and she had to move. And moving, she moved in with both of us. Now moved in with the sister of mine now. So this is now the first time, actually, if you've realized, I'm mentioning this sister now, my younger sister. Because she also has her own story. Okay, when she was living with my grandmother, what happened? She got pregnant early in primary and ran away from home. Or rather, she was chased. She started her life alone, lived from one slum to the other. So finally, she was in Lucky Summer, in a 1-bedroom house, and she welcomed us. Now I don't know whether still to call her wife, because we had not even started living together yet, and my child. Sitting room was our bedroom, and we lived there at least for a while now. Meanwhile, Nikama is like I've ran away from home now. Yes, for the first time now, I was away for like close to 2-3 weeks. We are not even communicating. Yeah, probably, I don't even think she knew where I was. She didn't even call to find out. So I just went on, stayed there, stressed. It was the most stressful time in our lives. We are jobless. We are homeless. We have a baby that we are raising. It was tough, and we are living in somebody's house, and we are under their care, the food. We don't, and we are graduates. The person that is even hosting us right now is not even the person who has finished class 8. I think she had just finished class 8. She has not even gone to high school. I think what helped me during that period, I was giving a lot of motivation to my wife. My wife was the one who was affected the most because she wasn't used to that life. She came from a very different life. Her father was the CEO of a very big corporation, Coffee Board of Kenya. They had grown without lacking anything much. They have gone to private schools, but here she was. We are in, like, somewhere in the ghettos, in the eastlands of eastlands, where people are so many. You are living in a one-bedroom house. Your sister has 4 more kids. Now you are here. You are like 4 kids, and 2 adults, and again another family of 2 adults and a kid. I stayed there. We were stressed. I kept on encouraging my wife, giving her I was a motivational speaker, bana. I. As a husband, as a man in your home, this I'm telling guys for free. You need to be a priest. If there's a time I performed my priesthood duty, it was that time. I would just pump motivation to her, tell her that the situation will change, the situation will change, the situation will change. And it did. I got a call from my usual employer, the health and safety. They had a project in Elgeyo Marakwet. Elgeyo Marakwet, Elgeyo Marakwet, Baringo, West Pokot. I also needed a break. I think a lot was going on. And so I went. My wife also, I think she had also overstayed there. And now she also went to stay with her parents in Embu. And at work, I arrived in Baringo. Immediately, I saw opportunity. Previously, when we were working with this company, we were being housed in a camp. Everything was being provided. Food was there. But this time around, they decided that they will be giving people allowances. So you are given food allowance and accommodation allowance. Unajitafutia. Na nikaangalia, there were none of these things. And I decided, what if we started a kibandaski here? These people that are my colleagues, we can get their money from this kibandaski. And I popped it to my wife. And my wife picked it immediately. Because even her home where she was staying, the environment was not very conducive. You know, as a parent, if you are housing your child with a baby, it's a bit of disappointment. You know, you're constantly, akifanya kitu kidogo, una overreact because you're like, sasa wewe umejiweka, a whole campus person, you're supposed to be having a job, and you know. So she picked the idea immediately, and she decided she will come. Where are we going to get the money? We need to invest some money into this business. We didn't have cash. But we had started a chama with her. It was a couples chama that we are the founders. We had gotten a few couples and started a chama where we were contributing money. So there was some money. And then there is where we went and took a loan of around 45 to 50,000. We bought utensils, nini, vitu za kupika. She got an aunt of hers and another guy who was supposed to be the chef to help her. And they traveled, transversed. It was a far off place deep in the Baringo village where banditry is there and there's insecurity and there is no light, there's no electricity. It is the remotest of remote. But she came. We didn't even have a house to run the business. We went into a particular shack, grass-thatched shack that was almost falling off, didn't have a door. There is where she was sleeping. We made a makeshift place to sit and eat where juu ilikuwa tandarua, then some seats zimechimbiwa. That was the bench. That was the hotel. We called it Mwangaza Cafe, which was the name of our firstborn. And things started off well. It was also a brilliant idea. Even the co-workers, my bosses at work were like, I think we had Chinese bosses. They were like, dude, you are very smart. And you've decided that apart from the salary that you're going to be paid, you also want to eat your co-workers' money. You are very smart. So the idea was brilliant, and it picked up well. But then it started being hit by challenges. One, competitors started sabotaging her. Okay, by blocking her suppliers. So milk haimfikii, sijui nini haimfikii, firewood apati. Number 2, they started inciting our workers. Paka waka katoroka. And at some point during the last, akabaki peke yake. She used to wake up at 4:03 to start cooking chapati because it needs to be ready by 5. She would sleep at 12. I admired that lady. Hey, I'm the one who used to help her job to come and cook for our ugali because just hizi songo ugali ni kubwa. Cook ugali, serve, help in the serving, help in the customer management and customer care, kuongea na colleagues wangu. Then before you know it, the business wasn't doing well. We weren't making money. I had to get into my pocket now to start buying supplies for this restaurant. Goods were taking long. Sometimes goods will be destroyed kwa sababu ukioda kitu, the nearest town is Cabernet. And Cabernet, you take like 2 days for your products to reach. Mvua ikinyesha, the cars get stuck. They have to wait for the seasonal rivers to drain. It was hectic, and it's only a police car. So that became hectic, plus the hostile business environment. Money started disappearing. I had to get into my pocket. And meanwhile, I'm paying the loan that we had taken from the chama. So the salary yenye nabaki yenye na save is this small. So before you know it, again we discovered we are expecting our second born. The pregnancy became too much on her. She couldn't be able to handle. She was developing infections. There was no hospital around. Finally, our doctor at the camp, just after me referring her to him a number of times and her being done for some checkups, he just advised that nimpeleke Nairobi. So I brought her back to Nairobi. She went back to her parents' house. Me, I went to finish my contract in Baringo, finished, and came back home. Came back. Now, when I was coming back, it was about where do I go to? So meanwhile, my wife looked for a house. Hata yeye alikuwa anataka kutoka Embu, because again, hata yeye pia ni mtu wa kujitafutia. And we looked for a house in Tindigwa. That was our first house. Now living together. And we rented a one-room servant's quarter. And she brought our child. She's also pregnant. And we started living there together. Back kidogo, when I was in Kitengela and hustling, training people, I got involved with a church. There's a church planting that was going on. I was the youth leader there, did a number of projects. There's a pastor couple who were my very good friend. They were actually my first people I would say mentors, who was mentoring us through the journey. So when we started living together, they were against it. They were like, you guys have to do a wedding fast. And as we were like, man, we already have a child. We already have the product of living together and getting married. Why do we again need we have to separate, be apart until we do a wedding is when we come and start living together. So when we differed on that note, they decided that they will not be involved. So they took a step back, which was okay with us. And so we started living together. She's pregnant. We're having a baby. Meanwhile, we are living off the little savings that I was saving. Quickly, that savings ran off. Our life has also been full of miracles. So that savings ran off. I remember we had our last 20 bob coin. We walked, ate it, came back home, and then my wife got a call from the same former employer. She's pregnant almost on her last days now. She went, and that is the first time that I started now fully taking care of our firstborn. So she would go to work. We didn't have money to employ a house help, and I became the chief caregiver at that time. It was tough. Kuchunga mtoto si rahisi bana. So she would leave in the morning having prepared for me a number of things, but it was tough. Inafika saa 9 naangalia gate bana. Where is this lady? Where is she bana? And when she would arrive, I would be elated. So she did it for a month. It saved us. But now something again happened. I think it was for 2 months, or the work was for 2 months, or almost 3. Something that happened, we got kicked out in this servants' quarter that we are living. The owner just decided one day that they want to renovate it. And so we were given notice to vacate. Which, if it came earlier, during that time that we were broke, I don't know what will have happened. So this job also just was a coincidence. It just came, this opportunity at the right time. So that is when now we were able to move to now Lucky Summer, because now we were looking for a cheaper, bigger space kidogo, where we can accommodate even house help if need be. And so we found a good 1-bedroom in Lucky Summer, and we moved there with our things. Then as we were working, not working. Meanwhile, I'm the one who is taking care of the baby. I'm the baby caregiver. That is when the idea of now present fatherhood started coming in.